Hey friends, on today's episode, I am going to take you into my new dining room in my cabin makeover, so stay tuned. So, with every dining room, it always starts with the chairs with me. Some people start with rugs or tables or the artwork. I start with chairs. And so, the first thing I had to decide was what chairs am I going to use? And I had this set of four chairs. Now, it's not my most favorite style of chairs, although they are French and I like that about them. The thing I did like the most was the rectangular shape. And the reason why is because I was going to use my daughter's Fridas on the back side of the chair. I thought if there's ever a time to do this, it's going to be in my cabin because I wanted to bring in a lot of color and a lot of whimsy. So I picked four of my daughter's Fridas. And inside Canva, I just worked my little magic where I took those images and I changed the background to be a kind of a light bubblegum pink because I wanted it to be bright and poppy. And I have found a gorgeous fabric for the front. And believe it or not, this fabric was only like $8 a yard when I purchased it. I think it's even less now. It's crazy. It is a lighter weight cotton. It's not quite quilting cotton, which I would never use, but it is a lighter drapery fabric. I'm going to go for this fabric because it had all the colors I wanted. It had reds, it had pinks, and it had some blues in it. And I thought this is perfect for my main makeover room. So I had my fabric as far as Frida's on the back side. I had a cute little fabric on the front side, and I thought this is going to be amazing. Now, I always say that the fabric drives the paint color, and I knew I wanted to go really bold on these chairs, so I picked a red color from Dixie Belle Paint, and it's called Honky Tonk Red, and it is a super bright, like fire engine red chalk paint, and I thought this is going to be perfect for these chairs. I'm going to be super bold, and I'm just going to go crazy on them. And I didn't know if it was going to work at first, but the more I got that paint on these chair frames, and then I put a great top coat on to protect them, I thought, oh, this is going to be really, really fun. And they're going to really stand out in this decor. I needed it to have really bold pops of color to make it work. Now, the next thing I turned to was the table. And I had bought a table a couple years ago on Facebook Marketplace for $30. And I used it in some of my Francis Valentine photo shoots. I had painted it green, did the trim in white, and it was really perfect for that space. But it was time for a makeover because I wasn't going to do green in this space. I wanted to do a blue table. Now, I had thought about red, but since I was painting the chairs red, I thought, a blue table is going to be great. It's going to bring out the blues in the room, and it's going to bring out the blue also in the fabric. So I painted the table, but I had a problem with the table. It sat a little too low. It was hard to get your legs under the table, and so I needed it to be raised. So I turned to my neighbor, Dan, who is the fixer of all my issues and problems when it comes to furniture. And I was like, what do we need to do this to raise it up? Because it's a pedestal table. And he had a brilliant idea. Take a listen. Dan, what are we doing here? Like, what is the point of this right here?
We are extending the pedestal on this dining room table because the chairs won't fit under it.
That's right. So what did you do? How did you put this thing together?
Well, we decided to take the pedestal away from the tabletop and literally make a spacer that will lift the tabletop, and it will barely be visible once it's standing up.
Awesome. So after taking the screws out, lifting that out, gluing it, and then drilling the little screws back in to hold it in, we lifted this table several inches higher, and now it's at the most perfect height, and it gave us enough leg room underneath, which is the most important thing for a dining room table. So the next thing I turned to was a chandelier. Now I knew I wanted a chandelier in this cabin. I didn't care how low the ceilings were. And I knew the only place I could really swing it would be over the dining table. And so I happened to have a vintage chandelier that I picked up at a flea market. Now, if you search Facebook Marketplace for vintage chandeliers, vintage Italian chandeliers, painted chandeliers, you will come up with something like maybe this. And this is what it looked like. It was worn. Someone had touched up the paint with some bright yellow on it. And I knew I like yellow, but it just wasn't a color I was going to use. But I thought, I can touch up that paint. So we went to town just trying to figure out, all right, how do we even hang this? And we couldn't hang it directly over the table because the table has to sit a little over to give us enough space. So we had to use a swag, and that meant we also needed a canopy. So in order to cover up the pot light, I used a beautiful one that I got from Stray Dog Designs. You know how much I love this company. My strawberry lamps for my bedroom are both from Stray Dog Designs. I have also some chandeliers at home from Stray Dog Designs. This chandelier was going to be the perfect thing, and all I had to do was touch it up with some paint. And this is what I decided to do. I went with the reds, I went with a brighter pink, and I also went with some pale pink on it as well. And then I touched up the green leaves, and it was perfect for the space. I even put some little polka dots in the center of the flower. And the way I did that is I took the other side of my paintbrush, the wooden side, I dipped it in the pink, and then I dipped it onto the center of the flower. And it was so easy to do. Take a look at this now. I mean, it looks so good with the swag from Stray Dog Designs. I just couldn't get over it. But the problem is I needed to cover up that ugly chain. We had to swag it over. And so I decided to get some fabric. I went up to this local Joann store and I just looked for some cute cotton fabric. And I decided on this red and pink stripe. It's a very lightweight cotton. It was probably $10 a yard, and I got some fabric glue. And this is how I did it. I folded in the edges, I ironed them, and then I put the glue to hold them in because I didn't have a sewing machine in order to stitch the edges. So I went ahead and used fabric glue, and then I wrapped it around the chain and bunched it up, sealing it with the fabric glue. And now take a look. Isn't this the best thing ever? I painted the hook up top in a pale pink so that it wouldn't stand out, and it just looks amazing. So let's talk about the curtains. Now we have a really cute window here. I knew that I wanted to have some cafe curtains so we'd have a little bit of privacy. These are also by Schumacher, and it's Molly Mahan fabric. I also added a jute rug to the space to define the space, and it has a cute red little scalloped trim on it. It's perfect. So finally, really the icing on top are these really fun placemats and napkins. And I found these placemats and napkins at a really cute little home store in Austin. But these can also be purchased online, and I found a couple spots for it. So I'm definitely dropping the link to this in my Like to Know It shop. So you're going to want to check these out. And these placemats come in all different kinds of colors. So if red and pink is not your color, you can get them in green and yellow. And I think they even have orange as well as other colors. So check them out. They were just something I could not resist. And the whole space really just came together. I mean, the chandelier is perfect for it. The curtains look great. The fabric on the chairs, even the red paint, and then the blue table. I mean, it's a perfect space for dining. I couldn't be happier with it. It's definitely joyful and it brings all the color that I really needed the dining space to have. Plus, it's really fun to sit here and eat. So it brings a smile to our face. And I always say, do what makes you happy. And this space definitely does it for me. I hope you enjoyed this latest makeover of my dining space. My kitchen is still not ready. It's coming along, and I have bits and pieces of my living room done, but hopefully that room is going to be ready for you to see in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned until I have my next room makeover. It's coming really soon, friends. I'll see you later.